How to improve poker floating by reading c-bet sizing. Are you looking to take your poker game to the next level? One effective way to do that is by mastering the art of floating. Floating is a tactic used in post-flop play where you call an opponent's continuation bet with a weaker hand, intending to take the pot later. Understanding how to read continuation bet sizing can significantly improve your floating strategy. Let's break it down. First, the size of your opponent's continuation bet can tell you a lot about their hand strength. When you see a small or medium continuation bet, it often indicates a wider and weaker range. Your opponent might be trying to bluff or maintain aggression with hands that miss the flop. In contrast, a large continuation bet usually signals a stronger hand or a polarized range, meaning they either have a very strong hand or are bluffing. Recognizing these patterns can help you decide when to float effectively. Next, position plays a vital role in your floating strategy. Being in position means you act after your opponent, allowing you to see how they respond on the turn. If you face a small continuation bet while in position, you can call and potentially bet if your opponent checks on the turn. This tactic can pressure your opponent, especially if they have a weak range. Another important aspect is adjusting your floating frequency based on your opponent's tendencies. If you notice that a player frequently makes small continuation bets, they might fold too often on the turn when they miss. In this case, floating becomes a profitable move. However, against opponents who use larger continuation bets, you should be more selective with your floats since they are less likely to fold later. Planning your turn play based on the size of the continuation bet is also essential. If the bet suggests weakness, be ready to bet the turn if your opponent checks. This move represents a stronger range and can force them to fold. On the other hand, if the continuation bet is large, consider checking or folding depending on your hand's equity. Lastly, always look for patterns in your opponent's continuation bet sizing. Over several hands, observe how they size their bets in relation to the board texture and their perceived hand strength. Use this information to refine your floating decisions. For example, you might call more often against small continuation bets on dry boards while being cautious against large bets on coordinated boards. By combining your knowledge of continuation bet sizing with positional advantage and opponent tendencies, you can float more profitably. This approach allows you to apply pressure on later streets when your opponent shows weakness, turning their aggression to your advantage.